So I'd like to invite Lars Mygind onto the stage now. Lars was an actor for 10 years, businessman for 10 years after that, and then he rather flippantly said to me he doesn't know who he is anymore. But he's been involved with Better Health for 12 years or more, and it's a great pleasure to invite you on the stage and talk to us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much for such a wonderful opening, and I just got really moved when the song was about the 100,000 angels behind me, and I'm just so moved right now because I forget all the support I have for this work I'm doing. I feel so blessed that I can be here with you this week and to coming back here Wednesday immediately brought me into repair, and it's really difficult to, I really want to share what repair symptoms I had Wednesday, but in Britain you are so appropriate. And it was scratching really a lot here. And I was wondering, what is healing right now? What is healing right now? So definitely some kind of territorial conflict. And when we had the Master Trainers meeting, even though that we are a group of very organized and very unorganized people, I really felt like coming home. And I felt like if I had the money, I would invite all the Master Trainers for a 1-week retreat where we could work together on creating some great product for this vision. So I'm having 2 visions for Emma. One vision is to have enough money to invite all the Master Trainers for a 1-week retreat. And the other vision I have is I envision we're going to have a CEO, and this CEO will be a retired CEO from a medical company. So he has loads of money, so we don't need to pay him anything. And now he wants to change the world for the better, and he really, really wants to do a difference. And that's why he wants to become the CEO of International Medicine Association, because he wants now to do something different than he has done all his life. So that's one of my 2 visions. Then I have a personal vision, and that's I want to make Earth the happiest and healthiest place in the universe. And then I'm going to teach you something new. If I'm saying something you agree with, you just take up your hands and do like this. We call it jazz hands. So let me see if you can do it. Put up your hands and like this. So that will maybe give me a hint on what you want more of. and if you do, but it's very interesting when I do lectures in Denmark. There are 2 types of audiences. One type, they are so, they're sitting on the edge of the chair, and they don't laugh and they don't clap, and are they getting what I'm saying? And then there's the other, they're laughing and clapping, and so sometimes it's really challenging. One of the most important things I believe as a mental health practitioner is that I'm the role model. I have to take my own medicine. I have to work with myself. I have to show other people how can I take responsibility for myself. So last night I really enjoyed The big difference between me and David is that I don't have the same fear of public embarrassment. The interesting thing, the only person in the world who can make me feel publicly embarrassed is an English gentleman, Jeffrey Smith. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring him today. He's crazy. So that's why I love to go to England, because it's easy to embarrass you. "17 years ago, when I started my journey into personal growth, I discovered that my biggest fear was the fear of being invisible. And I think this is a core issue, and as you have noticed, some of you at least, it's still turning up. So the fear of being invisible makes me do crazy things to become more visible. At least I'm now on stage. How more visible can I get? Maybe Times Square, national television. Well, I've been all these places, and I'm really, really fortunate, because in Denmark I belong to a really famous family, and my mother is really, really famous, and my brother is really famous. And what you learn by living with really famous people, and I'm sure Susan knows the same thing, it's not always that good to be that famous, because you always have to be nice. So I'm so inspired by my mom and my brother, because they are really kind and nice to other people. And that's something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be kind to other people. And what I realized almost 2 years ago is that I'm struggling with being nice to myself. And a little later, my wife, she got ill. She couldn't swallow. And in the beginning, I was so, I had this idea that meta health practitioners cannot get sick. Or if they get a little symptom, it's really, really easy to fix. And as time went on, my wife Hanne, she is here with me today, she had more and more difficulty in swallowing. One of the worst things I experienced was that I realized maybe I'm one of the things she can't swallow. Because a lot of times when she grew up in England. And as I said to you, I'm really embarrassing to be around sometimes. So very often Hanne said, "Lars, couldn't you stop that crazy behavior when we are out?" And I tried to say to Hanne, "That's why you picked me." And about a year and a half ago, I was a little bigger than I am now, and I wanted to lose 8 kilos. 8 kilos of weight. I was weighing 85 kilos, and I wanted to lose 8 kilos. And wanted to go down to 77 kilos. And then Hanne started to become more and more sick. She couldn't swallow. And I realized we have to do something. And finally we had a doctor, and he said, "You need to have a camera into your esophagus to find out what it is." And there was a 6-week waiting to get this done. And I looked at Hanne and said, "We'll find a private hospital and get it done tomorrow." And the next day they found an ulcer in her esophagus, and a week later they told us, "You have cancer in the esophagus." And a couple of months later we went to a hospital for a big scanning, and they said, "If you have cancer in more parts of the body, there's nothing we can do. And she had something in her thyroid, and she had it in her esophagus, and she had it in the liver. So in August last year, a doctor just signed the death sentence of my wife. And I had to do her work because she couldn't work anymore. We worked together. She's also a mental health trainer. I had to nurse her. I had to be the doctor and the nurse, and I had to be the husband, and it was really, really challenging. I'm used to, if there's more work, you work harder. And a couple of weeks into this, I had a panic attack. I was sitting in Copenhagen and I couldn't do anything. Fortunately, my good friend Jeffrey Smith gave me 2 breath sessions where I did breath work and I released all this tension. I did tons of tapping and other therapies to release all this anxiety. And in February this year, we went to a meeting with a doctor. We fortunately in the end found a doctor that believed that she could get well and that they wanted to help her, because the first doctor said there was nothing to do. And in February this year, we went to the meeting and they said, "It's incredible, Hanne. You're completely healed. And all the biopsy shows cancer, but what we removed was healthy. So the chemotherapy and the radiation has worked fantastically." And they are now writing a story for the Danish Medical Journal about her miraculous healing. And we asked, "Do you want to know what we also did?" No, we don't want to know about that. I can tell you we did at least 80 other things to help Hanne heal. And I grew. Hanne lost weight, and I grew, and I grew. Every time she lost 1 kilo, I gained 2. And the title for this presentation, The Troublesome Trio, was made before I realized that this was going to happen with me. So in January this year, this is how I looked. And I was weighing 93 kilos, and I was really not feeling good about myself. And I was really wondering, how can I change this? Because it's, you know, in the regeneration phase, you gain weight. And I was looking like, I'm going to regenerate for the next 6 months. How can I lose weight? So I really, really wanted to take good care of me. I really wanted to